Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video I decided that we should take a look at some of the different types of gear in terms of their looks that are coming out in patch 8.1. It's surprising that Blizzard just continued to pump so much content, just telling us what's happening in 8.1. There's a lot more stuff to take a look at, but in this video I decided to take a look at some of the best and some of the worst pieces of gear, give you guys my opinions, and tell you what the rest of the community seems to think. I'm actually very excited about some of the looks of our pieces of gear, and yes, it sounds like a video is just about fashion craft, but I am excited about things more than just rogue content, more than just PvP content. A lot of things about WoW excite me, so it's kind of like my attempt to diversify my content into some of the things I'm actually interested in. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to, I guess, take a look at is the Warfront that's coming out, which is going to be the Warfront between the Undead and the Night Elves on the Darkshore. Whether you like Darkshore or not, some people were like, what's the point? The tree has been burned, there's really nothing for the Night Elves to gain except, I guess, foothold in their own area, and it doesn't seem like the Horde really wants to commit to stay there either. They kind of just decimate it all and then back out. There's nothing to hold it. But I think it offers an awesome opportunity to see the Night Elves, particularly, you know, with how much vengeance they would have for the Horde, and the Undead, which is kind of like, I mean, when you think of Sylvanas, I don't really think of her as like full leader of the Horde, like the red piping Horde. It's more like she's the leader of the Horde as a war chief, but really just she's the leader of the Undead. So it'll be interesting to see those two factions, I guess, in some sense, fight. And from that comes the gear. And I thought, okay, well, the Undead has to have the best looking gear. I looked at the rogue stuff, I looked at the male gear, I looked at the plate. We yet to see the cloth, but it looks absolutely, in my opinion, awesome. Of course, the elite version, what looks like, is a bit accentuated compared to some of the other sets, but the originals even looks practical in a way. I mean, if you check out like all the skulls, like let's be honest, the Undead look like an edgy teenager from like early 2000s. Like the only thing they need to have is just an iPod mini, iPod, headphones, and like Linkin Park blaring the whole time. What I like about the Undead is kind of like the fact that the race itself, I feel like, is just more nonsense compared to the rest of the Horde. You don't really have like superstitions, you don't really have none of that. They always came off as no nonsense, especially through their quest lines. Like there's a quest line where you were a quest giver, and it's kind of like it gave an insight to how a Blizzard developer looks at some of the people taking up some of the quests. Again, I always felt like the Undead were practical, and I feel like the gear that it comes with is very practical looking. Of course, I love the elite version. I think the elite for rogues is pretty cool, although I do like the mask without the hoodie part. Personally, I do think it looks great. I think the male gear especially looks amazing for the what looks like an elite version, and then the plate version, I think it looks great. I mean, there's a lot of spikes, there's a lot of skulls, there's a lot of, like, it looked like a biker gang kind of deal in a sense, but I think it looks great. Although I was surprised to see so many people not liking the Undead side. They were like so disappointed too. And I guess you should also try to compare it against the Alliance, what the Alliance gets. So their whole gear outlook is going to be in the style of the Night Elves, right? What are Night Elves all about? Well, I mean, they're mostly druidic. They do have some warriors. It's like a loon stuff going on. So the moon, and you have some of the like pieces of gear like the plate, which I think the elite versions look pretty cool, like with the feathers, but the basic will look basic. I mean, nothing much you can really say about it. Then a lot of people didn't like the male version of it because it basically makes it feel like it's just still, it has too much of, I guess, Alliance human feel to it rather than like particularly Night Elf feel, and it just doesn't look that inspiring. And then the leather, I do agree on the leather. It does look kind of meager, it does look kind of lame. It looks like there's definitely something missing. Even the elite version, it looks like almost like a copy paste of what they currently have right now for the Alliance. I mean, you have all those royal colors, but then you're trying to replace them with like the purple Night Elf colors. You're still keeping the same, I guess, track to it. So I feel like the Alliance side definitely, if you had to choose one faction or the other, the Alliance definitely doesn't have the best looking sets. The Horde are definitely winning with the Undead. But even people are complaining about the Undead sets, and I don't know how to feel. I feel like the Undead got a pretty decent, unique thing of their own. I mean, yes, it does kind of look very biker gang-y, but what else do you expect of the Undead? Have you ever tried the male Undead slash dance? They look like they're at a metal show, about to listen to some, I don't know, what's an old school band from back in the day? I'm trying to think of anything besides Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath? Black Sabbath. We'll go with that one. I think it looks great. Let me know your thoughts. Then we have the raid tier in terms of how it looks for the brand new raid coming out very soon. And I mean, it makes every single class I feel like look like a death knight, except for the hunters and the shamans. They look a little bit different, but everybody looks like a death knight. The cloth set looks, I mean, it's just so many bones. And then you go to the leather set, and it's, I don't even know why it's called the leather. You might just call it bones. Even more bones. It looks great, don't get me wrong, but there's so many bones. And then the mail set, and it's just like, I don't really know what happened there. The shoulders are kind of cool, and there's like scales stuff. There's some bones. The face, the hoodie though, I don't understand that. I mean, be honest, doesn't that make you think of Lord of the Rings? It literally could look like one of the Sauron's riders. And then they don't have the plate set, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be even more bones. It might just be completely made out of bones. It might even be called calcium at that point. But I think they'll look great overall. A lot of people didn't enjoy the mail set. I can jive with that, but everything else I thought was unique. I mean, it's definitely interesting and weird, and doesn't look like we're gonna have a rogue set and a monk set. We're not gonna have like a mage set and a warlock set, but at least they look kind of cool and they look very detailed, and it's something new that Blizzard is trying out. Makes me wonder what kind of enemies we'll be fighting in the raid too. Maybe someone will be wearing those kind of things, and then it's a question of why they're wearing it. Maybe it's like a very blood troll-esque or supposed to be a blood troll themed type of getup, but I don't really know. And then we also have the heritage armor for Blood Elves. Now, I got a lot of guys asking me on live streams, what do I think about the sets themselves? First of all, this is kind of what I was planning out of when I was thinking about a Blood Elf heritage armor set. I always felt like the Blood Elf guards probably represented the Blood Elves the best. Just the way that they look, the way that they hold their gear, like kind of like the way that they posture themselves, always like upright. And it also goes kind of with how Blood Elves are. They're a bit more, I won't say posh, but do like the luxuries. They do keep the city more or less clean, like the whole magic addiction. They're more on the sophisticated end. So I really wanted for them to look sophisticated. So what I see out of the gear that I see, whether for male or female, it invokes a little bit of the guard feel for me, which is something I liked. I like the side helmet thing, like the phoenix look on the top, the side, like what looks like sideburns type of deal. Makes me think of Warcraft 3 type of sets from back in the day. Very sharp, lots of royal red with a little bit of green to it. I think it looks pretty great, actually. I mean, and if you put them together with the actual sets of gear, they do look like actual guards. So I really like it. It makes them kind of seem a little bit more of like a mix between a warrior as well as like a magic caster in a sense, with the whole robe style and very cloth look to it, but also has the shoulders and the helmet to give him a little bit of that like metal bits to it. So I feel like it could be used as a warrior or as a caster, because Blood Elves have generally been known with their magisters or whatever, which are mostly in terms of magic casters and I guess leaders in some sense in their society. So I thought it was actually very well done. It looks really cool, and it kind of in some sense does kind of look, at least on Wowhead they have here, Kale Thas Sunstrider. And maybe if they had like a big cape like he did, like a big old cape that kind of surrounds your hands as well, I think it would be awesome to add that as a cloak set. Maybe they'll have something like that in the future. I think it looks awesome no matter how you put it. I'm wondering if the weapons will be added. It'd be kind of cool if you could transmog into those kind of weapons as a shield and this like spear in the offhand. Like maybe if you're a rogue, yeah, it'll be kind of silly to have a Blood Elf running around with a shield and a spear, but it'll look really cool to have like some kind of a priest that has like a shield and a spear, but still kind of like a transmog, a lot similar to how we can take whatever gear we have in our hands and transmog into our artifact weapons. I wonder if they will eventually add something like that to kind of complete the set with the weapons, with the gear and everything, because I don't really know how many classes can use like what looks like a spear and maybe or a sword and the shield, unless you're a paladin. But maybe they just made it on purpose like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's all the gear that I have for you guys to take a look at for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is something I just want to try for the channel to kind of see if I can branch out a little bit. Because, again, there's a lot of things that I like about World of Warcraft. A lot of things I like to talk about. And I don't want to keep my channel only to just about rogue PvP stuff, if possible. I do want to try to branch out into things that I like, but still maintain all about World of Warcraft. Until another game comes by that takes me away. We never know if that'll happen, but So far, let me know you guys' thoughts on this type of video. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear you guys. Overall, BFA is looking very exciting, and patch 8.1 is looking like a very interesting patch so far. Thank you guys, and I'll see all of you in the next one.